Hello. I wanted to do a video on just kind of my experience over the last couple of days. I decided to just go ahead and take the plunge and start or create a Plenty of Fish profile. Something that I told myself I was never going to do again. But I mean, I live in a small town. I'm 42 years old. So I feel like I'm at that age where I can set certain criteria and standards and put them out on a profile or a dating site and hope for the best. And that's kind of what I did. And, at first it was overwhelming, and it still kind of can be overwhelming at different times. But I just want to share some tips on what I've learned. To me, the most important thing is, you know, on your profile is, be honest. You don't want to start talking to somebody, and then end up meeting them and they be a completely different person. So for a woman who's 42, I make sure I'm just honest. I put my weight and my, the standard things, your job, what you do for a living. And then on the bottom, my first mistake, and I guess this could be a good tip, is I put out there, how did I say it? It was just like one line, because I'm not much of like a texter, I guess you can say, or someone who messages a lot. I prefer to meet someone face to face and get to know them like that versus getting wrapped up in text messaging. And after a while, when you're on surface level communication, which to me that's what text messaging or emailing or messaging somebody is, you tend to kind of create in your mind the type of person they are, or the type of persona they're, you know, showing you, and you can get lost in that, and they can be a completely different person. And for me, it was important for me to be truthful but not give too much information in my profile. And the first line that I put, in my like bio section or whatnot was, um, I I go deep, just so you know. And that's all I said. And I'm like, I left it like that for a little bit, and there were people asking me in, a roundabout way, what do you mean go deep? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to change that, because these dating sites, a majority of them, I want to say like 80% of them, are looking for like a hookup type situation, which is fine. I'm not judging anybody, but that's not what I'm looking for. So I immediately changed it when I realized what I did, and kind of just, I said deep conversation and deep, I like to have deep conversation and not so much surface level stuff. Um, I tend to get bored easily with small talk, and especially my age and experience, it's almost like I just don't have the energy for that. So, um, I made sure, like, you can kind of weed out the people, when you're on a dating profile. They start messaging you straight off, good morning, beautiful, and just like love bombing you with all these, sentiments and accolades. And it's almost like, okay, we'll get through this phase. We haven't even met yet, but I do it in a nice way, when I respond. Thank you for the compliments, and, do you have any kids? And I start going in about who they are, their basic information. And I say that not so much as to say it's like boring information or just like basic, but just to kind of get to know where they're at in life. What am I getting myself into? Do they have young kids? Which is fine with me. I love that. I love kids. Um, and I do that kind of to see, where they're going to spend a lot of their time. What kind of job do they have? Are they going to be available? I mean, these things are important, and it's important to get these things out in the front, in the forefront of conversation, because you don't want to continue, communicating via text with somebody who is not going to fit your schedule. Meaning, if they live, like, for instance, somebody that lives in Sierra Vista and they work, they only work nights. And you work during the day. I work during the day. So how are we going to be able to get to know each other if our schedules are so conflicting? So that's one thing that I look for. So I set the basics. I put the basics out there. I ask questions about basic stuff, meaning exactly that. How is this going to work? If they start talking to me and love bombing me, which I think is adorable, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I'll respond, respectfully. And I think at our age, it's important to just be a kind person, period. But if they're doing that and they live in Phoenix, I'm going to have to say, thank you for the compliments. Thank you for, reaching out to me. But I don't think this is going to work because you live too far away. I mean, and that's what I mean about putting all that out there up front. In my profile, I specifically said I will not date anybody outside of Cochise County. And maybe, some people in Tucson, and that just depends on the person. I mean, I also put on there I'd prefer to date a guy who's taller, as tall as me or taller than me. I mean, I've only dated, or I've only been with, 2 people, I think, that are taller than me. Like, everybody's always been an inch or two shorter. I'm tall. I'm 5'11" or 5'10". So at least, those are specifications. However, there's some guys who don't like tall women. Maybe they want a short woman. And it's important to put that on there. Because why waste your time? Even if someone is a beautiful person, that's just one thing that you're not going to find attractive about them. And it's okay to put the specifications out there. I don't want to date somebody who's not actively in the gym. Why? Because if they're not if they're not taking care of themselves and going to the gym as something that I currently love to do. I haven't always been a gym person, but now I am. This part of my life now. It's an everyday part of my life, and I have a ways to go, but if I get with somebody, start talking to them and taking my time and my energy and to get to know them, to find out that they don't have that similarity, that's not going to be good for me. I like to go to the gym, and I go daily. So that's another thing. It's important, and then as far as talking, texting somebody can go on for so long. And like I was saying earlier, there's a limit to that. I'm not one to just overly text somebody. I'm a good responder. I'm not going to ignore them. I'm not going to ignore them. But I'm not going to, go out of my way to just continue a conversation if it's not going anywhere. And I've come to a place where, within the first couple of days of talking to somebody on these dating apps, if it's within, a week or within a time frame or a place where you can actually meet in person, then hopefully that happens. Because why spend all your time and energy texting if they're not going to take the effort to meet you face to face? And I think it's vital because, I'm busy. I work a Monday through Friday job. I have a teenager at home who keeps me occupied quite a bit, as far as, keeping him structured and taking care of him. Um, so I don't want to spend a lot of time just texting and learning surface level things about somebody. And that's just me. I expect after a couple of days be asked out on a date. I'm 42 years old. Texting is not a good way to meet somebody on a personal level. Or messaging back and forth on the dating site or whatnot. I do not recommend giving your phone number out. I'm new to this, so okay, I gave this guy my number. It seemed like we hit it off pretty good. He lives in Vale. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, here's my number. He asked for it. So this morning, here I am trying to get up for work. It's early, and it's cute if you know them already. If you've already been talking for a while and you've gotten to know them, it's cute to receive text messages. And I didn't have a problem with him sending me a text message at 6 o'clock this morning. However, he started asking for pictures, and here I am getting ready for the gym. Like I'm trying to enjoy my coffee. Don't mess with me. This is too early type of stuff, which it would have been okay if he would have just left it at that, but he kept asking for pictures. And I hate that. I mean, I don't, to me, if you, like I said earlier, if you've already been talking and you already know each other, then great, send a picture of yourself. But he just kept on, and I finally told him, I'm getting ready for the gym. I'm already running behind. And he just kind of like went off on me. And that was a huge red flag. I ended up just blocking him. I didn't respond or anything with a little help from a few of my friends on Facebook. It was, I mean, I laughed about it afterward. I'm like, really, Katie? It's almost like I'm stepping over a threshold of dating. And I'm to the place where it's okay, because I'm such an introvert, empath. I can feel energy, and if it's negative, it's like I can feel it right away, but I seem to want to give people the benefit of the doubt, which I'm learning about that. So yeah, long story short, don't give him your number, and look for clues that they want to date you. If they continue to text you and try to get to know you, then that's a good sign. You can kind of feel their maturity level on, with texting on the dating site, because they're respectable. Girls our age want respect. I mean, we're getting too old for childish stuff. Sorry, I'm a little tired. So be very clear and specific in your profile, of what you want and what you're not going to tolerate. Another thing, I'm not going to, I don't think that I would want to date somebody who smokes cigarettes. Even though I do vape, I'm trying to quit. Why would I want to be with somebody who smokes when that's just going to pull me back? Because I am looking for a long-term relationship. So these habits that I don't want to be part of, anymore, I'm not going to be with somebody who does it, regardless of what it is. So be specific of what your standards are in your profile. And you can almost tell if someone's read your profile too, because they'll pick things from that in a conversation that they have with you. I've learned that as well. So I've had tons of people like bombarding me with messages, but it's kind of slowed down quite a bit, I guess, and that's because I just won't respond to somebody if I don't find them interesting. The first thing I do is when someone messages me, and I have not messaged anybody as far as initiating, a conversation. I might like them and, just kind of let them know I'm interested based on what they've showed me. But to initiate a message, I haven't done that yet. I haven't had a chance to. And I'm not bragging, it's just overwhelming. I know who I am. I don't need affirmations, from somebody I don't know. In fact, to me, that's kind of you have to be careful with that too. You know, it's, it can be overwhelming, but there again, it's down to like all day today. I've had a few people message me, and I've messaged back, but they haven't like been messaging me, all but a couple of people that I've taken interest to. So I kind of feel like I've narrowed it down so far, and it feels like there's some kind of similarities and interest there. So we'll just see where it goes. I went on a date tonight for the first time, well, for the third time in my life, to be honest with you. And it was nice. I'm not going to go into details. I don't know if that specific person would be watching this video, so of course I wouldn't do that and be disrespectful, but it was nice. It was nice to get to know somebody and you know, um, so, but anyway, and then, just going with the flow of the conversations. If you're not there, and I think if you are there, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not there, then you're watching this freaking out because he hasn't texted you or something like that. But it's important for women to know their worth and to know who they are and what they want, especially when they're in their 40s. So I know it's quite a lengthy video and I'm tired, so I hope this all makes sense, and I'm going to share as I learn. And I hope you have a good night.